Welcome back. Today I'm telling you everything you need to know ahead of Palantir's big event this week. DevCon 2 is taking place February 26th and 27th, which is Wednesday and Thursday of this week. Just hours away at this point. I'm very grateful for the invitation Palantir's extended me as part of the fellowship. And I want to tell you, DevCon 2, not only is it the first event for Palantir in 2025, but I believe the DevCon series, which started in November of last year, is without a doubt the most exciting event series Palantir has put on. I've watched every event Palantir has done, demo days, double clicks, aipcon, foundrycon, everything you can think of. And now let's talk about what is coming up with DevCon 2. It's kicking off this week, and it promises new tools and insights for developers and investors. Very important. The focus on developers. This is a developer conference. I'm going to get into why exactly that matters so much. So it's a follow-up to DevCon 1 in November, a really quick turnaround between their first developer conference and their second one, which I think really indicates the focus of the company, the pace of innovation, the fact they have new products to share, and boosting the brand's reputation as a developer network. So new product announcements are expected, not new platforms as far as I understand, but continued refinements and developments on the existing platforms for Foundry and AIP. I'm not sure if Gotham it gets talked about or discussed, but I believe it's going to be a heavy focus on AIP. Last time there were launches with respect to AI agents and a lot of refinements and continued improvements for AIP. And the way I like to think about it is AIP is not a separate product. You log into Foundry, and Foundry is where you get all the AIP tools. So it's really building on top of Foundry, everything that you can do with language models. And we know language models are continuing to get smarter, and we have this new S-curve of growth of the intelligence of these models when you introduce reasoning to them, which is super exciting. So I can't wait to see what Palantir is going to be able to do with reasoning models. We know they work closely with the model providers, agnostic to the models, so you can swap them out in the same workflow. You can use different models depending on what they're best for. So I can't wait to see what Palantir has been cooking up lately. The significance for us investors is we're really increasing here the engagement of customers that will be in attendance, as well as customers that hear about the event, potential customers that are interested in working with Palantir. There's going to be a lot of inbound from this. We've heard a lot about inbound from previous Palantir events, and that's going to be no different. Palantir is increasingly in the spotlight like it never was before, and now is truly where Palantir is going to shine, especially with the rise of it into the top 50 most valuable companies in the world. And all of Wall Street is trying to figure out exactly what is going on at Palantir and making it so successful, and how its financials are so strong, the growth is so enticing, and all of that. As well, it's bringing this focus to the innovation and the developer ecosystem. Now, this is the purpose of making this video. This other stuff you could have figured out on your own, but I want to give my spin on the importance of DevCon 2 and the future of Palantir as it relates to Palantir moving down market. They started business to government, then business to business and very large enterprises, now some smaller enterprises, but they've introduced the developer tier for AIP and Foundry, which allows anyone to build on Palantir starting for free. Now, their software can be insanely expensive. It can also, I'm sure, start at a fairly reasonable amount, but they're allowing you to start building for free, get hooked on the platform, and then when you need to, you can get custom pricing. Now, the reason this is so important is AI is launching this next generation of startups and of small businesses, and I'd assume even businesses within large companies that have been benefiting from boot camps. But anyone that hasn't or doesn't have the means to benefit from a boot camp is able to use the developer tier and create a startup on the back of Palantir's innovations and its platforms that allow for you to operationalize AI. Now, there are going to be so many startups in this new era that are doing just that. These could be consumer, business to business, and really everything in between. And for Palantir to open up to them, and specifically on the consumer side of things, you have this new leg of growth, which is Palantir themselves are not selling their software to consumers. However, they are and will be potentially, we'll have to see who the first businesses adopting this are, but they will be selling business to consumer, enabling their software to touch the consumer without doing all of the work of building an intermediary product. And they're still going to get paid on the backside, right? Because they're providing, in some cases, the back end where you develop a React app and you use the Ontology SDK, and then you're paying Palantir for use of the language models and everything else. So this really, I believe, is the most underestimated part of Palantir, is when it comes to what exactly is going to happen if they're able to tap into the next generation of consumer software and startups, as well as really just smaller businesses in general, where maybe it's a loss leader up front, where they're not making any money right away from these partnerships. But over time, that's where the real value comes into play. So the back-to-back DevCons, this really is back-to-back. I can't imagine the logistics of doing this so close together, but just a couple months apart. Again, only their second developer conference. They're moving fast. They've accelerated their updates, and it basically shows they're going to sustain this momentum, because you wouldn't hold an annual conference in November and then another annual conference at the beginning of the year if you didn't have more updates planned. So not only is it a quick turnaround, but it also indicates there will be another DevCon in 2025, which is great news, because we know they're putting on these events not just to build a community, but to also release new product, which is what any company really has to do and makes money from. So it really is a developer focus. Don't watch this and expect them to be speaking to investors, but the latest on generative AI and community building, demos, and workshops, I'm super excited to attend. And while obviously I won't be able to record, a lot of this will be broadcasted publicly, and I'm excited to talk about my experience as it pertains to just general information after. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Until next time.
My view, Palantir's view, my book's view is not an historical diagnostic of the past. It's only a diagnostic of the past to get people to do things in the present and the future. And the more people in tech, the more builders. Like, what makes America unique is that we have a culture of builders expressed in technology.